Heights?
I was very lucky a few years ago to get a phone call from Jeffrey Seller, one of the producers on In the Heights, who I had had a great admiration for and all the work that he had produced. And my agent actually reps most of the people on the team, so my agent and Jeffrey Seller set up an interview on the show, and I was sort of the last team member to be brought in because they slowly had met each other through Wesleyan and over the years, and then they brought me in right before we started production off-Broadway. In the Heights has been a tremendous journey for all of us. I mean, it's very much a show where what we've done on stage is material that we always dreamed of doing. I did a lot of shows as a dancer on Broadway, and I wasn't always fulfilled, and I often felt like I wasn't integral in the piece. And I think from everybody in the Heights, everybody within the company, everybody behind the scenes, has felt like we've brought to the table something where everybody can give their most and give their heart. And we feel also that the audience then responds to that, because I think it's great for an audience to see truth on stage, see material that moves them, and this material is so moving to the cast and the whole team that it's been very easy for us to really lean our weight into it emotionally. Also, it's been just a joyful ride. My son was born on the day of our very first preview, so that was a wonderful event, and then winning the Tony Award, and it's just been a lot of really amazing highs for me. As soon as I started hearing the music from the Heights, long before I ever had the job, one of the reasons I wanted the job so desperately is because the music was so good, but it was also so versatile and so all over the charts in terms of its styles. And so I knew as a choreographer that there really weren't any rules to be had, that I thought I could break any rule necessary to sort of land the punch, from going into slow motion to go fast speed, to go past tense, to go future, to go all these different stylized takes on things. I had permission to do it all. And so what was really great for me is that I was able to sort of look at the things that I had admired and had inspired me for my whole career. People like Michael Jackson, people like Gene Kelly, they're all in the choreography, I think. And it was a tremendous opportunity for me, since I didn't feel like I had any rules, to just actually create what felt right. Like, if you're choreographing a musical in 1920, you're kind of stuck to choreographing appropriate material for 1920. With this musical, none of that existed. So it was really freeing that in any given moment, I would have sort of outlandish ideas. Let's all lay on the floor here, and no matter, since there were no rules, there was no right and wrong, and sometimes things worked, sometimes things didn't work, but it was very freeing as a creative artist to sort of have a very wide palette of things to choose from. Yeah, it was interesting. When I first started working in the Heights, I have a process of, I have the music on my iPod, and I'm saturated in the music on the subway, to and from work, at the gym for an hour in the morning. I constantly listen to the music. And so that's what happened within the Heights. I listened to the music for hundreds of hours before I ever started choreographing, because I actually had the benefit of having the disadvantage of not choreographing hip-hop before I did In the Heights. So I had a lot to learn about hip-hop. I did a lot of tap work and sort of swing athletic dancing from like the 40s and 50s, which isn't too dissimilar from hip-hop. So I started choreographing material that felt right for me, and then because of the sort of research process of having to make it feel right stylistically, it sort of was a long process. And it being a long process, it enabled me to really totally evaluate the music and hear things in the music that are really, really detailed. And then what ended up happening was, it's kind of like a painting. You paint something that you think is what you want the audience to see, and then you keep tinkering with everything around it. You keep tinkering with colors and shapes. And since we have the benefit of this great set that has so many niches and little corners, and what I wanted to do was create sort of a moving painting so that the audience knew where to look, but then I wanted to fill the environment and the community with constant action, and constant action that always informed the focus. So it wasn't about battling focus and the audience not knowing what to see or how to feel about it. I always am fairly clear about what I want the audience to see, and then I spend weeks and months trying to figure out how to dress it so that no matter where you're sitting in the theater, you see a different show, but you're always seeing the same story. And so that's been really exciting to me to say, oh, here's the main part of the step, but now you're on a staircase. So let's figure out what happens to you on a staircase. Or you're going to do the same step, but you're going to do it coming around this lamppost. And to me, that's what makes the material good, but it's also what makes the dancers feel so integrated, because they feel like what they're doing is particular to them, and on any given night, they can make it important to them. And I think that's great for the longevity of a show. I think people still see the show on Broadway almost 3 years later, and it's very fresh, and people are seeing it, and it feels like they're seeing something for the first time. And I think that's in a large part to do with the material, and the music especially is just so strong that the cast feels alive with it every day.